everybody, how are we doing? Alright, give me a moment here, right? We're gonna get into Cyberpunk 2077. Okay, so this is gonna be a spoiler-filled review of Cyberpunk 2077. I've just finished the game today. From what I want to basically talk to you about today is the storyline. Alright, the storyline for Cyberpunk 2077 is fantastic. Okay? You can have different inputs, so like I won't go into all the endings because I haven't seen them all. I'm not gonna look them up online just so I can talk about it for the sake of it. So there's multiple endings, and from what I can tell, depending on how much of your side quests you do, maybe certain decisions also play an impact on it. But based on the amount of quests that you do, it also does present more story progression and so on that may carry over into the final mission. So again, if you haven't watched or played Cyberpunk 2077 and you don't want it spoiled, obviously cut out now because we've already gone into it. This is going to be spoiler filled, specifically for maybe one type of ending though. So don't worry, you're not going to get like absolutely everything here. The ending that I've kind of come across would be it was tough. It was really tough. I'm going to definitely go through it again. I'm going to change some things because ultimately I'm not super satisfied with what I did. But look, the game is set up in a way that you can go back, of course, and redo it as many times as you want. Maybe even change your character. For me, I just want to kind of get that really kosher ending for what I wanted. And so what happened with me in Cyberpunk is, I did most of the side quests. I did a lot of hours. I got definitely over 100 hours of playtime. So I helped out Alt, who was Johnny's ex-girlfriend from Once Upon a Time. Didn't get too much info on her other than she wants to collectively get all of the engrams in Arasaka Tower, and she wants to essentially just like absorb them or have them integrated with her. And the alternative for them is to stay in the Arasaka building or in the tower in the basement and just be in a prison. So I mean, like in that terms of things, yeah, it's probably better to go with Alt, and you only get her progression some point through the game through a lot of side quests and so on. So if maybe you play the game through as a person who's going with Mikoshi, is that her name? Again, I didn't do her, but Takamura and the girl that Hinako, I think that's her name. If you go with them, I have a feeling that they're just gonna backstab you because they're corporate cunts, and fuck them. But no, I went with Alt in this situation because yeah, I don't think that even if you get Silverhand sorted out by Arasaka, what will probably happen is, and again, people already know the answers. This is just speculation. I'll get into what I did, but the speculation for me would have been that like, all right, I'll get Johnny separated from myself, but maybe they'll kill me, or maybe they won't kill me, but they'll just put Johnny back in a prison, and it's not that like good of an ending overall. When I got my tarot reading from Carol, or maybe not Carol, doing your friend at the very start, Jackie, yeah, his girlfriend, whatever her name is, she does tarot readings. Yeah, she told me that I had the lovers card with Johnny, so I think we were a good friendship and balance. So I was like, all right, I want to kind of keep that going. Like I've done all this side quests and blah blah blah, so let's try that out. Then obviously you go through the main missions. You can either select help from Rogue or from Pan Am. And I did some side missions with Rogue, and she looked sus. Like she looked proper sus. So I was like, nah. Some guy was talking to her about like how she knows Adam Driver or Adam Smasher, and then obviously you go through the main missions. You can either select help from Rogue or from Pan Am. And I did some side missions with Rogue, and she looked sus. Like she looked proper sus. So I was like, nah. Some guy was talking to her about like how she knows Adam Driver or Adam Smasher. And obviously, how did she get out of Arasaka, live all this time, and not have any issues? So I was also sus of your one, Rogue. So I didn't side with her in the end because Johnny's not a good guy from the past anyway, even now I suppose. But like yeah, in my mind I was like nah. She's gonna betray him, and it's gonna be like a big reveal at the end. So I was like, Pan Am has said she's gonna be there for me. I trust her. I'm going with this ending, which isn't my downfall. My downfall is what I did at the end. But anyway, so I went with Pan Am, helped get the Basilisk tank. So did all the side missions for the Aldecados. Got mentioned as like a honorary member, and they take a nomad kind of approach, which I was a nomad too. So like the two of them just kind of like respecting each other, and it was really awesome. And then you go through the final battle. Okay, so the final battle, everyone goes through. Some people die, and that's on like V's like, oh, it's on my hands, and like, yeah, sure is. But then you get down into the, I don't know what's called, the Minako or some shit. Basically the underground of Arasaka Tower. After I've stormed in, I had Alt help me out, so she took out like a lot of the security at some point. Um, Also had the basilisk tank, so I'd say that helped out as well. And then when we get in there, apparently what happens is as soon as you jack in, Alt uses Soul Killer on you. So without you even realizing, you become an engram just like Johnny is. But what she does is she uses the engram to separate the two of you, and then in theory she was just going to send you back to your own body. But she's already used Soul Killer on you, so like no matter what you do, the whole like existential question of the game, which is like, are you just a copy, or are you like a personality in a digital space? Like, is it just you as you were, and you're in this digital world, or is it just a copy of what you were, but missing the soul, which is the program Soul Killer is. That's what it's designed for, essentially. So I mean, like, she does that on you in theory to save your life, but I mean, like, you've already lost that part of you that's kind of fucking, I suppose, human. But then also on top of that, she also says that because of the changes that Johnny has gone through, like with the relic and like the progression of the game, is that even if she puts you back into your mind or your consciousness or your engram back into V's actual body, because of the changes that it's gone through from Johnny, considering like the time that he's been in the body and making changes to it, like, not on purpose, or just like a part of the relic and what it's doing. So when V wants to go back into his own body, Alt basically tells him that like his body will recognize him as a foreign substance, and his immune system will actually try to reject his personality or his construct or engram, whatever, just because of the fact that Johnny has made changes to it, and therefore is like not his DNA, but like his his synchronization with his own consciousness has been altered. And I suppose this is it. Is like, is Alt right? Is there any cures that can be made? At this point of the game, I just took her for a word at it, because I don't think she's like gonna try to screw you over. But she says that V has 6 months to live, even if he goes back into the body, whereas Johnny can live fine because the body is changed to suit his construct or his engram. So I mean, like, we had this great relationship throughout, not a great relationship, but we had this like bond between each other. I told him I'd take a bullet for him, and he said I was the only person he'd do the same for me. And by the end of it, I was like, you know what, like, the ultimate sacrifice is down. I mean, if I can only live 6 months and Johnny can live on, I've also done some of the stuff to kind of help rekindle. Almost at the time, I thought I was giving Johnny a farewell, but if anything, I was actually just giving him the building blocks for his new life. Like, I went out with Kerry, I played a gig with the old band, did all this kind of stuff. So at the time I was like, all right, this is a good way to say goodbye to Johnny, blah blah blah. But then I'm finding out that I have 6 months to live, and he can live indefinitely, or a regular lifespan. I wish I hadn't done it, and this is what I want to change. I want to go back and basically keep the body, because I gave it to him. I gave it to Johnny, and he seems to have learned his lesson. Like, in like, the game goes into this post cutscene kind of thing, and he's like with some kid, and he's like helping him with guitar, blah blah blah. But it never goes into what happened with Pan Am, because I went with Pan Am through Arasaka. I put myself in the interface, or V puts himself in the interface. Soul Killer gets him and replaces him with Johnny. So I never saw any dialogue or face off when Pan Am and Johnny through V's body, like when they first found each other. At the very end of the game now, once you've done the little side part, there's like calls that come in as part of the credits, and one of them is from Pan Am, and she's like, Johnny, you fucking psychopath, I'm gonna get you, you're a tapeworm, you're a parasite. And like, it was really cool, because like everyone else was just like, hey V, just checking up on you, hope you're okay, give me a call. But she like knew what was going on, and she's like slandering him to bits, even though it's V's decision. But like, she doesn't know that necessarily, and I loved it. But I put them in a bad spot, because like, if I'd gone with Rogue and then let Johnny come out, then I would have been like, yeah, fine, that's cool. But I brought all the Aldecados who trusted me, brought them to Arasaka Tower. Adam Driver, Adam Smasher, he just he curb stomped Saul, the leader of the Aldecados, and basically, like, I could only watch. I couldn't. I was even like trying to hold my L1 if you're playing on PlayStation, trying to scan him to, like, reboot optics or give him a short circuit, anything I could. But it has to happen, I think. But he stomps on his head, splatters all over the place, and then you obviously face off against him. So, like, the Aldecados gave up a lot for me, and then at the end, I chose to let Johnny have the body, and it's like all their sacrifice was for nothing, and I feel so awful. So I will play the game again. I'll get into it probably when the PS5 comes out, when that version comes out. I was playing on my base PS4 and I loved it. It had so many glitches to it. I would never say it didn't, but I had a really positive time with it. Like the story itself is absolutely fantastic. So many side quests and so many hours to get lost in. I purposely avoided the main story missions, and I was probably like 2 or 3 away from clearing the game at any one point. But I just kept doing all the side missions, doing all the little things you don't need to do, traveling around, getting told about something. I was like, okay, I'll check that out. And I just loved it. I had a really, really good time. But even when I bought the game originally, I knew that it was going to be not as good on the base PS4. I wasn't expecting all the stuff that obviously has come with it, but I equally wasn't super surprised. Look, I mean, it has got its bugs. It's going to get polished up eventually. Same like Witcher 3, not as game-breaking bugs at the start, but when the PS5 version comes out on the PS5, I think that'll feel a lot better to me. But that's what I'm saying, is that I got into it knowing that on the base PS4 it wasn't going to be beautiful or immaculate. It wasn't going to be anything to write home about in terms of graphics and whatever. But that's what I'm looking for about the replay. So I get to go back, play through all the different graphics, going to change my style around. I played as Nomad, loved it. I don't really want to be a street punk or a street kid, but I could be a corporate shill, go down that line. But I'll also play as a woman next time, or just change it up. Maybe I'll play as a woman with a man's voice, or a man with a woman's voice. We'll mix it up. But altogether, I have to say, like, look, it does have a lot of game-breaking elements to it. For me, the most common thing was just the blue screen where it would freeze and cut out. Other than that, though, like...
You're hiding. And when I do, I'm gonna rip thee out of your head. Don't ask me how, but so far I'm counting on sheer will. You know what you are, Johnny? A parasite. A fucking tapeworm. You hear me? Enjoy the little time you have left.